At Wildlife Conservation Network, we believe there is hope for even the most threatened species. And we know it will take a community working together to make that hope a reality. That's why we invest in local leadership and conservation around the world, support a network of partners with bold, effective solutions, and establish wildlife funds to save a threatened species across its entire habitat. We connect donors with the conservation work they support and ensure 100% of their money goes to the work they care about. Together, we are building a world where people and wildlife can coexist and thrive.
WCN is perhaps the most extraordinary and successful conservation organization anywhere.
Join us in creating a future for wildlife.
Welcome to WCN's Virtual Expo Day 4, focused on restoring wild places. My name is Tommy Sheridan, and I help manage WCN's Partner Network, which is a group of world-class community-based conservation organizations who work every day to ensure that wildlife and people coexist and thrive all across our planet. In 2021, the United Nations launched a decade on ecosystem restoration, which is going to last through 2030, the global deadline to address the Sustainable Development Goals, and also the timeline that scientists have identified as one of our last chances to prevent catastrophic climate change. Ecosystems are critical to that. They support all life on Earth. The healthier our ecosystems are, the healthier the planet and its people and wildlife. Now, preventing, halting, and reversing the degradation of ecosystems on every continent and in every ocean can help to not only end poverty, combat climate change, but also to prevent a mass extinction of the incredible biodiversity that inhabits our planet. And it will only succeed if everyone plays a part. So today at WCN's Expo, we'll chat with 3 incredible organizations playing their part in restoring habitat across the world. Let's begin first with the Grubby Zebra Trust in northern Kenya.
Greetings to all of you from Kenya. We are incredibly excited to be joining you today for WCN's amazing virtual expo. My name is Belinda Low-Mackey, the co-founder and executive director of the Grubby Zebra Trust. We work to protect and recover the endangered Grubby zebra and its habitat here in Kenya. These incredible animals, which are right behind me here, are the largest zebra species in Africa and the most endangered. There are only 3,000 Grubby zebra left in the wild today, and over 95% of those are found here in Kenya. Grubby zebra are uniquely adapted to survive in very arid, harsh environments, and they can go up to 5 days without drinking water. But nothing can prepare even the most resilient of species for what we are currently experiencing. We have had 2 years of failed rainy seasons here in northern Kenya. And together with the already degraded environment that was here, the cumulative impact of that is that there really isn't enough grazing left to sustain the wildlife and the livestock that share these resources together. Our team is doing everything it can to help Grubby zebra survive this crisis. With permission from the Kenya Wildlife Service, we have started supplementary feeding to ensure that Grubby zebra get an extra boost in their diet. And I'm now handing over to Andrew Latora, our Ecological Monitoring Officer, to tell you more about this work.
Hi everyone, great to meet you today in the WCN Expo. I am Andrew Latora from Samburu, Kenya. Here in the field, what we're currently doing is that we're following gravies, big herds of gravies, and try to supplement them. Because of the situation, we are now experiencing a lot of drought, and now we have to supplement gravies to maintain their health. We are monitoring 3 main areas, and we are following up with over 500 Grubby zebras, and so far we've already fed them with 4,000 bales of hay. Of these herds that we are following, 50% are lactating females and foals, and 10% are pregnant females. We have a dedicated team within these particular areas, working over 6,000 hours in these particular areas and try to follow up with gravies on a daily basis. And we're not only benefiting gravies, we also have baboons, oryx, buffaloes, and we even have a hippo that we have taken care of and feeding with the hay. This whole feeding exercise is not only physically demanding or involving, but also emotional. It impacts the team emotionally. We get sad sometimes to wake up and find a gravy that's very weak and can't stand even to stand and eat the hay. And we even witness a gravy zebra that gave birth to a had a stillbirth, and the mother was trying to lick the foal just to wake it up. And it was a very emotional moment for the team, watching the mother trying to wake up the foal. Little did she know that the foal was not going to make it. Later on, the team gave it an honor by burying the foal. Like, that's how much they could give, connect with that female. And yet, every day we celebrate. 5 days ago, we witnessed a gravy zebra giving birth. And we are happy and excited monitoring this foal on a daily basis. This cute foal is a sign of hope, among other foals, that through this drought period, we continue praying for the November-October rains, and as we continue feeding these zebras, to make sure that they are stable and they can make through this drought period for stability of the population and growth.
These interventions are life-saving, and we do them because we cannot afford to lose the conservation gains made over the last 15 years. Before this drought began in 2020, Grevy zebra was stable, and in some areas they were increasing. The Grevy Zebra Trust's work is based around the connectedness of people, wildlife, and the rangelands that they depend on. And over to Peter Lalumpa, our Programs Director, to tell you more.
Thanks, Belle. It's really great to connect with you through the Expo. As I grew up as a boy, I used to go out herding livestock. I regard wildlife as my first teacher. Their behavior alerted me when there's danger. This enabled me to tighten up my herding skills. Because of that, we are able to coexist with wildlife for centuries. Our land has no fences. It's an open system allowing for free movement. However, this free movement has been disrupted by increasing settlements around permanent infrastructure, such as schools and clinics. This change in lifestyle also means that most of our livestock stays with us where we are settled, and this has led to overgrazing across the landscape. As Grevy Zebra Trust, we work with communities to heal the land, and we do this in two ways. The first is planning the grazing patterns of livestock to ensure that plants have time to grow. The second is by restoring already bare areas through the construction of erosion control ditches and planting indigenous grass seeds. Central to the long-term success of this work, the indigenous communities that own the land must drive the entire process. To achieve this genuine ownership, we work through village-based committees. I'm here in Nesunyai, and I want to introduce you to Nesunyai Village-Based Committee, which includes elders, women, and the youth. Kasirianta? Aya kaja choling tongu tomona. Kaata tangu maswali. Na ikinga sinye lenaibai. Nyolka sile FBC.
Na bari yo begiti ka siliga sute BBC. Po ngor ka sina ba wena tamanu ko wena po ngor ka sina ta me ga community ang dal ka sina ba ko to je kya.
Ashota ole. Aya ne bar ngodo patile amata ton to monok anyi de bigi yun to monok de FBC
yo ne ba ye kya tan to monok ta to nya na gi BBC ni yo ba ye kya ta era ma gi kya ta rama ta to na boite yo se mi darap na ngara ni kya ta na gi ni kya ta to monok ta to gi ni ang chili ki asije
aya ne bar ligi janai lempunya amata era yel gi janai ni de ba to dua alkasia ta sa FBC
gitu kenal ke sira tu dua lagi kita sana geral ke janani, ni kita jangan abe BBC. Amu kita ramata nang kopang, ni kita ramata daga bakung kojit. Mata kor daga tata muda na tuan atau ongkolong na tuan aku na. Anak kopang na kita ramata kita BBC ni nya kita tata isi daga yo na ke simini ke ata bagi ata na ke tongkumui dana bagi ata kuni. Amu ko angkara ke na ke un na ke ata ni murtu tai ni ke jeparta angkara ramata ni kita ramata pa na kop.
Acheta weling kaja sholing tinya yo maregi nyoto ja po adol som mai nyoto jama bine ngor som na dinge pro rugwen
aya adikin
ya na ga budel da
It's incredible to see that by just planning their grazing pattern, Naisunya village was able to grow more grass, which enabled them to keep their cattle for 2 years of drought. There are 2 other villages that have had similar success thanks to their strong village leadership. Collectively, the 3 villages have had successful grazing plans covering 3,000 acres. In the next 2 years, our goal is to work with 30 more villages to achieve similar results, which covers 60,000 acres in a critical grave zebra habitat. And now over to Dr. David Kimiti, our Director of Research and Impact, to tell you how we monitor land health. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Happy to be here with you today, everyone, at the WCN Expo. As part of our rangeland strategy, we've also designed and implemented a comprehensive rangeland monitoring strategy to ensure that we are checking the impact of our rangelands work. We do this through 2 main ways. The first one being quantitative data collection. We do this primarily through the Land PKS, or the Land Potential Knowledge System app, which is a mobile phone application that we implement while in the field. We supplement this using other ecological monitoring indicators that we collect also while we're in the field. And the second data collection that we do is qualitative or semi-quantitative data collection. This is primarily through the use of fixed point photography, which is very useful for large areas or areas that we need the community to monitor themselves more frequently than we are able to get into the field to do. Our rangelands data is collected by a dedicated team, which is led by our ecological monitoring officer. He's supported ably by field officers and interns, mainly drawn from the communities that we work in. Our team of scouts, ambassadors, warriors, and grassland champions also provide critical Grubby zebra movement and health data. This ultimately allows us to add other types of data into our analysis, including remote sensing data, which further allows us to assess trends in rangeland productivity and health. We are then able to compare that to Grubby zebra habitat use and health status, and this allows us to track the impact of our interventions. Through this rangelands monitoring strategy, we hope to refine our rangelands interventions to make sure that we are improving the health of the rangelands that the communities rely on for their pastoral livelihoods and that Grubby zebra rely on for their habitat. Thank you, and back to you, Belle.
As we wait for the drought to break, we are laying the groundwork to scale what Naisunya village has achieved. At the same time, we are also keeping as many Grubby zebra alive as possible. This gives us immense hope for the future of the species and for the livelihoods of the people that share the same resources. We could not do any of this without your support, and we are so grateful for everybody who has shown up and walked alongside us on this journey, and we look forward to walking further with you. Thank you.
All right, and we're back live now with Peter Lalumpa, the Director of Programs at the Grubby Zebra Trust. Peter, thank you so much for joining us. I know this is a very difficult time in Northern Kenya for GZT and all the community members you work with. So I just want to say thank you for putting together this beautiful presentation for us to all understand what you guys are going through. And we'll have about 5 minutes now for some questions live from the audience.
Thank you so much, Tommy. Happy to be here. And yeah.
All right, wonderful. So to start, we have some questions about, you guys shared in the presentation about providing supplementary feeding for the Grubby zebra. So we have a question from Linda Tabor-Beck, who asked, where does Grubby Zebra Trust actually source this hay from?
Yeah, thanks so much for that question. For the hay, we're getting it from, southern parts of Kenya where they've received some rain. And so there are private ranchers that do farming of hay. So we get this hay from there, we buy them from there. And, it costs 1 bale of hay, it costs around 500 shillings, Kenya shilling. And to take it all the way, you need really a truck to take it from Nakuru, Nairobi, all the way to Samburu. And it's not an easy undertaking. It's a short-term intervention, but very critical to save the population.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, thank you guys for doing that tough work these days. How do you feel these days about the outgoing future? Is there hope at all for rains to come in northern Kenya? Or what's the latest meteorological forecast in the region?
It shows that, in fact, there is this prediction that we'll still have below average rainfall. And this is now the third failing rainy season. So it's really very tough. But thanks God to the dedication of the teams that are on the ground, we're able to do this supplementary feeding. And, it couldn't have been possible were it not for, so many friends, donors, people who are able to walk this journey with us. And so, but we still have hope that even if it will be below average, there's still some rain we're expecting around end of October, beginning of November.
Mm-hmm. And in your day-to-day work, what do you feel gives you hope in your work with the communities or the zebra? You shared a bit about the foal and in the presentation, but can you tell us personally what keeps you moving and motivated to do this work?
Yeah, thanks, Tommy. What motivates us is the fact that we're working with local communities. I come from the same community. And every day as I go out monitoring gravies, I see passion from our team, both from the scout, ambassadors, warriors. The kind of dedication, the kind of passion that they have to save the species is really very good. And we're really blessed to have such a kind of team. Secondly, the fact that communities are taking ownership in terms of rangeland management, because feeding the zebra is one thing, and it's a short-term measure, very expensive. The long-term goal for us is to have healthy rangeland. And for us, we consider that as one health approach, where we're thinking about health of the land, health of wildlife species that we are saving, health of the livestock of the pastoral communities that share their space, resources with the gravies, and health for the communities that live in the same landscape. And so what gives me hope is the community taking ownership in terms of land health management.
Mm. And Peter, I know that nowadays as we're growing human populations and consumption, there's a lot of competition for natural resources, and water is one of those most critical resources for all life on this planet. So one question we have from the audience from Morgan Farrell is, can you share an idea or estimate on what percentage or fraction of the water that you guys are dedicating to grassland restoration or to feeding wildlife is compared to other uses, such as agriculture or maybe for human use as well in the region?
Yeah, in terms of competition for resources, I would say that water, yes, is a scarce resources in the northern part of Kenya. But because there is no farming, because people are not doing crop production in northern part of Kenya, the only uses of water there is livestock use as well as wildlife use. And so if you look at those two uses, and household definitely, where the people are drawing water in order to be able to use at their homes. But if you look at those two uses, there's a way that they are compatible to each other in terms of when the livestock are taking water. Mostly livestock take water during the morning hours. And then in the evening, when livestock are heading back home, wildlife are able to access this water point. There are areas where we really have a bit of a challenge in water. And what we do is work with the local communities to ensure that as they go back home, they're able to fill water troughs so that wildlife can have access to this water. Because sometimes the water table can really go very down. And so the wildlife cannot really dig for water in order to access this water. So we work with the local communities to just fill in troughs so that as wildlife come in the evening, they're able to access this water. There are also areas where we, thanks to support from friends, we are able to develop dedicated wildlife water points where we dig wells and then pump this water away from the people so that, wildlife can have access to it. And so definitely there is a way that we are able to manage just because of our working relationship with the community.
Brilliant. Thank you, guys. And how about one more question that's more focused on zebra biology generally, because many people, this might be their first time hearing about Grubby zebra specifically versus plain zebra. And so we have a question from David Fielder who asks, how many species of zebra really are there? And how are they dispersed throughout the continent of Africa if there's more than just one species?
Yeah, thanks, David. There are 3 species of zebra. One is the grave zebra that are found in the northern part of Kenya. They were historically found in 5 countries, but they went locally extinct in 3 countries. So they're only found in northern Kenya and south of Ethiopia. And the Ethiopian population is less than 200 individuals in the wild. So we are talking really Kenya as the area that's hosting the biggest population of graves. Then we have the plain zebra. And the plain zebra are found north of, the whole of north of Africa, all the way to the south. And their numbers are really quite a big number. Like we are talking of more than 100,000 individuals in the wild. And then we have the mountain zebra that are found in West African countries. Their numbers are also very low, but not compared to the Grubby. And so those are the 3 species, and that's where they're found geographically in Africa.
Brilliant. Thank you, Peter, for clarifying. And for those of folks who are unsure how to identify a Grubby zebra versus others, can you tell us a few tips on how to identify each species?
Thanks, Tommy, for that. So the first thing, as you go out and you find plain zebra and grave zebra side by side. The first thing you see when I go out in the wild, the first thing I look out is the milky ears, because they pop out in the bush. And round, big ears is the biggest characteristics of graves. Their stripe patterns are very unique in that they have thin stripes, while the plain zebra have very wide stripes. The belly of the grave zebra, if you go out and you see something with a white belly, well, the other one has the stripes cutting across its belly. And then they have one unique feature, and that's how we identify them with the name. We call it labor chrome in Samburu, which means they're white ramped, because they have this glaring, shining white in the back of their ramp when the sun shines on them. Totally unique species, socially, physically, if you go out, and they're bigger. You might say that I'm biased, but actually they're bigger and taller if you compare to the plain zebra. And so those are unique features that you can look out when you go out to the wild.
Incredible. Thank you, Peter. All right, well, unfortunately, we're running out of time for today's live Q&A on the main stage. But if folks have more questions for Peter, there's still some more in the chat, then we encourage you to also visit Peter. He's going to go into the Grubby Zebra Trust booth on Hopin. So please follow up with him there if you have more questions about the drought or just generally Grubby zebra conservation in northern Kenya. But for now, Peter, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us and for sharing about your incredible work. And we really hope that the rains arrive soon in northern Kenya and that your team and all humans and Grubby zebra receive the support they need to get through this time. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Tony. And I just want to say that really thank you to WCN, thanks to the supporters of Grubby Zebra Trust. It's because of people like you that we're able to do what we're doing. And we are happy that so many people are joining us in this journey, including an announcement that I want to make that we are going into a partnership with San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance, whereby they're looking at One Health issues of Rangeland and really, really a big collaboration with so many partners. So I really want to say thank you to most of our partners.
Brilliant. Thank you, Peter. And I hope we encourage some more support, more partners for you guys, because it takes the whole way. Appreciate you.
Sure. Thanks, Tony.
Ciao.
Yeah.
So thank you, Peter and GZT. We'll now be shifting focus away from northern Kenya and towards the Coral Triangle of Southeast Asia, specifically the Raja Ampat Archipelago, where our next speaker, the Mosul Foundation, safeguards the most biodiverse coral reefs on planet Earth through the empowerment of local communities, providing a structure by which they are able to reclaim their traditional tenureship of coral reefs. So let's hear from the Mosul Foundation team.
Rewilding is a new concept to some, but we've been doing it in Missoul for over a decade. The joint mission of Missoul and Mosul Foundation is to protect the world's richest reefs. Since 2011, we've been committed to supporting the community who rely on the sea by empowering them to become guardians of their reefs, which are their natural birthright. Why Missoul? According to marine biologist Dr. Mark Erdman, who heads up Conservation International's Asia-Pacific Marine Programs, Missoul's reefs represent one of only a handful of places in the universe where biodiversity is improving rather than declining. But it hasn't always been this way. When Missoul's founder first visited the island, where they would eventually build Missoul Resort, we encountered a shark finning camp. With the local community's blessings, we created the 300,000 hectare Missoul Marine Reserve to link no-take zones where fishing is banned. And now there are 18 rangers protecting this area and the creatures that call it home. They patrol the reserve and are available 24/7. So this thriving area with high levels of protection make it a brilliant place to measure how these interventions have led to natural rewilding. The most obvious way for us to do this is to look at the shark populations. As well as discovering a shark finning camp, our founders dived extensively around the area and noted that there were no sharks at all. It was clear that to show the effectiveness of a no-take zone on species recovery, that we had to measure the shark bounce back. To do this, we used a super easy method of recording this data with Proof method.
Jadi karena hiu merupakan apex predator, dia menjaga agar suatu ekosistem tetap sehat. Karena hiu ini memakan ikan-ikan yang sudah tidak sehat atau ikan yang sudah tua. Jadi suatu ekosistem tetap terjaga kesehatan ikannya. Nama saya Kaira, saya di sini sebagai penanggung jawab riset studi populasi hiu di Missoul. Penelitian saat ini mengacu pada penelitian 7 tahun yang lalu yang dilakukan oleh JITEH. Secara umum, jumlah hiu di dalam NTZ 28 kali lebih besar dibandingkan area di luar NTZ. Metode yang kami gunakan adalah metode Proof atau Baited Remote Underwater Video. Jadi kami membuat suatu rangka di mana ujung rangka tersebut terdapat sebuah keranjang umpan untuk menarik perhatian hiu atau hewan-hewan lainnya. Lalu di sisi lainnya terdapat kamera untuk merekam kemunculan hiu tersebut. Jadi rangka yang kami gunakan menggunakan bahan dasar besi. Kemudian sebagai penyangga kamera dan keranjang umpannya adalah pipa PVC. Ranger-ranger membantu saya untuk mendeploy alatnya, untuk menarik kembali alatnya ke atas, dan untuk memotong umpan. Area pengambilan sampelnya ada 10 titik di daerah Bat-Bitim No-Take Zone, 10 titik di Daram No-Take Zone, dan 10 titik di luar area No-Take Zone. Titik koordinat yang kami ambil juga menggunakan referensi penelitian sebelumnya agar dapat memonitor jumlah populasi dari 7 tahun yang lalu untuk melihat tren adakah peningkatan atau bahkan penurunan di Missoul, NTZ maupun di luar NTZ.
Anecdotally, the diversity of shark species is increasing with scuba divers seeing unusual species when diving from Missoul Resort. So that's how rewilding happens naturally. But we have also implemented a reef restoration project as a proactive intervention. We started this in 2013 to help rebuild areas of reef that were damaged by dynamite fissures before the reserve was established. Coral fragments that are naturally broken off are transplanted to specially designed artificial substrates.
Tantangan kami selama melakukan kegiatan rehabilitasi adalah cenderung terkena gangguan antropogenik seperti arus, gelombang, dan durasi selama musim selatan ini diperkirakan sekitar bulan Juli sampai dengan bulan Agustus. Area yang kami rehabilitasi terdapat di Pulau Kalik, Daram, Batbitim, dan Yelit. Capaian yang kami telah lakukan melalui kegiatan rehabilitasi terumbu karang adalah kami berhasil menanam bibit karang sebanyak 23.417 bibit karang dengan luasan kurang lebih 2.124 meter persegi.
Our coral gardeners are responsible for the initial transplantation and then the important maintenance that follows. This is crucial to ensuring that the artificial reefs stay healthy and gives the corals the best chance of survival. These areas are already seeing fish returning and other species beginning to grow. On the shore, while not patrolling, the rangers are always keeping eye on the turtles. We monitor the nest and hatchling rates.
Kami melakukan monitoring penyu pada tahun 2020. Tujuan kami adalah untuk melindungi dan menyelamatkan populasi penyu yang mulai kritis, serta membantu mengumpulkan informasi penyu yang ada di Papua Barat. Jenis penyu yang kami jumpai adalah penyu hijau dan penyu sisik. Capaian kami sebanyak 14.581 butir telur penyu yang kami temukan dan sebanyak 1.654 ekor tukik yang menetas.
For the past 10 years, our conservation works give significant impact supporting the livelihood and environment in South Missoul Raja Ampat in West Papua. We are fully committed to protecting the reef together with the community, keeping ecosystem thriving and natural. We are proud of what we are doing for our environment and for a better future.
All right. Thank you so much to the Mosul Foundation team for that amazing presentation. We're now joined live by Verily Urican, who's the chairperson of the Mosul Foundation. Thank you so much for joining us, Verily. We got a few questions from the audience. Probably have time, about 10 minutes or so to ask some of those, but we'll dive right into them if that's okay with you. All right. So the first question, Verily, we have is from Morgan Farrell, who asked, in the Missoul Reserve region, do you guys have an idea of how many species of sharks there are?
At the moment, we have some data that the recent data that we are collecting, we only count for like 7.
7, okay. Could you name some of the species?
But it's sorry for the dogs barking from this side. And but in that data, it just following the previous study that we are measuring in here. So we suppose it's more than that, but the species that we are targeting for the proof study is only 7.
Could you name some of the species that you know of the 7?
And actually, no, I cannot mention all of those. Yeah, I need to check on my cheat sheet.
No problem.
Yeah,
Well, in the
but
meantime,
I think it would be available in our impact report.
Mhm.
Yeah, if you can to see that, it will be available in our website. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. And yeah, forgive us because we know it's right now it's 4:30 in the morning for barely in Indonesia. So it's okay if you're not in your sharpest zone for scientific questions, but we'll do our best. But we have another question about in the presentation you guys referred to the shark finning camp. So we were curious to hear more again from Morgan. He asked regarding the shark finning camp. Can you talk about what it was? The purpose of the shark fin? Was it for shark fin soup trade? That's what most people are aware of here in the U.S. But maybe you could tell us more about the intention of this finning.
Okay, so recently we had some interviews with some communities and also some fishermen that work around the area, and we asked about the shark finning, and we asked if they are actually consume it for themselves, and they actually didn't know what's that for. So it's because there are some demand from the outside for the shark fins. So they only see that as the object for the income. So they don't actually know what is that for. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So have you found that the rangers that you guys have implemented at Mosul Foundation, have they helped to at least decrease some of the take for the shark finning, or have you seen any numbers increasing for shark populations?
Oh yeah, based on our latest study, yeah, we found that the sharks population in here has been increasing. So the last study that we did the last study in 2019, and we just did a recent study in 2020, and the number is increasing like 2.7 times from before. Oh yeah,
Wow.
it's increasing. Yeah.
Incredible. Yeah, it sounds like Missoul Foundation is one of the few places on earth where restoration is actually working to restore a lot of positive growth for biodiversity in the region. So
yeah,
to see a positive trend for conservation.
Yeah, and we are committed to keep doing the monitoring for the shark population, and we always hope that it will always increasing, and we hope also to for the next study, we also hope to find more species coming in the area as well.
Brilliant. All right, so we have some more questions about because this presentation was focused on coral reefs as well and reef restoration. Obviously, WCN is a wildlife conservation network, so much of our work is based on very big, charismatic wildlife and megafauna like lions and elephants. And we're curious to hear from you about the work for corals, and maybe if you can explain too that corals themselves are an animal as well, a bit about how the conservation for this very unique species is approached and how it's different maybe from a larger species like shark or anything like that. So could you tell us anything about coral for us to learn?
Yeah, I think for the coral in here, well, yeah, as you see before in the presentation, we done that before because we saw a lot of damaged area because of the bombing for the fish. And the good thing that we saw during our effort for the coral restoration, we actually only restore the hard coral types. But while we are doing that, we also found some like natural recruitment on the soft coral nearby the hard coral that we are actually transplanted in the artificial substrate. So yeah, but it's kind of good news because it's kind of more complex to transplant in this case, because they are soft coral, but because the area is really potential for them for the natural recruitment for the soft coral, then yeah, I think that's one of two surprises that the team found in the field when they're doing the monitoring between the transplantations.
Incredible. And we have another question from Linda Tabor-Beck. So she asked, are you guys continuing to add to this and expand your coral restoration efforts?
Yeah.
And if so, could you share about an estimate on the size of the area that Missoul Foundation is?
Sure. Yeah, so since last year, we have a target to add 2,500 square meters more per 3 years. So averagely per years we will add 800 square meters for the restoration sites. But yeah, for now we are working with three people for the coral restoration teams, and there are also local people in here that already really passionate for doing the transplantation. And during this time they are working to doing a survey for which area that would be the best for the next our coral restoration area. So yeah, we are committed to keep doing that.
Beautiful. All right, well, barely we're running out of time for the live main stage, but I want to ask one more question, which is about, I understand that Mosul Foundation also has a resort that folks can come and visit and see this beautiful coral and marine life if they would like to in real life with their own eyes. Could you tell folks if they're interested in traveling to Missoul, how could they get involved, and a bit about the resort? And if they cannot, what's another way that they could support Mosul Foundation in your efforts these days?
Yeah, if you are interested to come, you can check on Missoul Resort website, and you can make a book in there. And if not, then you can also donate to support some of our programs, especially for the coral restorations. And if you want to, we always try to share our work and our impact annually. You can also check on our website what's been done and who's doing that, and if you are really interested to do that. But we are also really active in our social media and in Instagram. If you want to see our daily activity with the rangers, that are also interesting. Yeah.
Brilliant.
And I really hope that if you're really interested, you can see with your own eyes. It's really, really beautiful in here.
Absolutely. Yeah, I encourage everyone in the world. The Coral Triangle is one of the most beautiful places to see coral reefs and marine life. So if you get a chance to go out to see Missoul in real life, please do. But if not, please help support them to maintain this incredible ecosystem that's protecting marine biodiversity, but also helping support humans and all of us around the world. So Barely, I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in, especially early in the morning in Indonesia, considering the time difference. And your efforts to restore coral reefs and marine ecosystems is really inspiring. So I hope it gives everyone hope that the world can recover and it can be a positive trend for wildlife in the next decade if community-based conservation efforts like yours are supported. So thank you so much, Barely.
Thank you so much, Tommy.
All right. And our last speaker for today is Proyecto Washu, which is a group that's primary goal is to protect the habitat of one of the most endangered primate species in the world, the brown-headed spider monkey, located in Ecuador. And the name Washu is the name that the indigenous communities of coastal Ecuador refer to for the spider monkey. Project Washu's team believes that local communities are the ones who lose the most from deforestation, but they're also the ones who can gain the most from reforestation and protection efforts. So let's travel away from the seas of Indonesia and over to the forests of Ecuador to hear from Project Washu.
He is Demvi, a young brown-headed spider monkey living in one of the last forests of the Ecuadorian Choco. For Demvi and his mom Vera, fruits are very important. Their diets depend on fruits, but also fruiting trees depend on Dera and Demvi because they can swallow large fruits, and after digesting them, they disperse their seeds over long distances. Their long arms allow them to move 6 kilometers per day, giving more opportunities for seeds to grow all over the forest. For all of this, spider monkeys are forest farmers. They are essential for the natural regeneration of their habitat. Dera and Demvi don't know that their species is on the brink of extinction, but they live the consequences of this situation on a daily basis. Their home, the Ecuadorian Choco, is one of the hotspots of biodiversity worldwide. Sadly, every day it continues being deforested very rapidly, and only 5% of the original forest remains. Some parts of these forests have been deforested to be transformed into pasture lands, and when this happened, the spider monkeys got trapped in small fragments together with hundreds of other species, who continue to try and do whatever is possible to survive. In a world that does not seem to have space for them, day after day, in search of food, crossing between roads and forests, they survive deforestation and hunting. They only have their voice to be heard, and collectively, we can all help to save them. 10 years ago, the brown-headed spider monkey became our flagship species to work for the conservation of biodiversity.
Hello everyone, I am Felipe Alfonso Cortez, Director and co-founder of Proyecto Washu, and we are delighted to be part of the Wildlife Conservation Network Expo for our very first time.
Hi, good morning to the people who joined this live stream. I am Natalia Fuentes, President and co-founder of Proyecto Washu. We, our team, and the communities of farmers who are our main partners are very happy to be with you and share our work
por la vida del Choco.
10 years ago, we started an amazing research about the situation of the critically endangered brown-headed spider monkey in Ecuador. This motivated us to work for its conservation.
To mitigate and tackle the impacts of these threats, we have developed a comprehensive strategy that combines 4 programs that we will share with you today. Join us on this journey about the spider monkeys and the incredible Choco rainforest. To start, here we have the Scientific Research Program Coordinator, Esteban Rivera. Hi Esteban, how are you?
Hi Felipe, Natalia, and all who are joining us here at WCN Expo. I want to start by telling you that to design primate conservation strategies, it's essential to understand the ecology, behavior, and genetic of the species. We work with the 4 Ecuadorian primate species, sadly, are listed as critically endangered in the country, and 2 of them are part of the 25 most endangered primate species in the world, the brown-headed spider monkey and the Ecuadorian white-fronted capuchin. Within this program, we manage research stations and private reserves, created with amazing partners and donors. In the province of Esmeraldas, where the best connected forest extensions of the Ecuadorian Choco are, you can find our first protected area, the Jebon Forest Reserve, where Edwin Pincay, a young local conservationist, is working at. This is an incredible place, combining tropical and clothed rainforest. Here we study the wildlife of the area, while protecting iconic species like the incredible jaguar. Another part of our work is in the province of Manabí. Here, the spider monkeys were believed to be extinct more than 50 years ago. However, in 2015, a population was rediscovered, and we estimate that there are around 300 spider monkeys in 22 forest fragments until now. Here we study how habitat fragmentation affects the ecology and behavior of these primate species, but also how they are able to survive and move around within and between forest fragments.
Now that we are here at WCN Expo, we want to share with you some breaking news that give us great hope and energy. Together with our wonderful partners of Fundación Cóndor Andino and Bioparc de la Foctán, we have initiated the creation of a protected area for the spider monkeys, starting with the purchase of 500 acres of land. This reserve represents a better future for Dera, Denby, and the rest of their group of 25 spider monkeys.
Now, our dream is to turn the grasslands into forests, and with the help of the spider monkeys, reforest them. We also want to increase the number of acres of these reserves to 2,500 acres, and thus protect part of the spider monkeys that continue to struggle to survive in other fragments.
We know together we can make it happen.
Thank you, Esteban. What an amazing work. We have to continue achieving all these dreams. Now, I'm going to tell you about another major threat that the spider monkeys face. As we all know, all primates, including humans, rely on their mothers and their social group because this is where we and other primates generate life experiences. Also, spider monkey mothers nurse their babies until they are 3 years old. These young juveniles stay with their mothers until they are 6, and then rely on everything they have learned to survive in the wild. But did you know that to capture a primate for the illegal pet trade, it's necessary to kill its mother first? Sadly, some infants die in the fall, and others during the transport and the handling involved in the illegal trade market. Very few are rescued, which means they will spend the rest of their lives caged or chained, and less than 1% have the opportunity to return to freedom. The illegal wildlife trade is a serious crime that leaves many consequences on primates. And because of this, since 2014, we have been working on the welfare and rehabilitation of the largest captive population of brown-headed spider monkey in Ecuador. The site where we currently develop this program, the Hacienda Jambelí, will soon become a zoo. That is why part of our main goals in this program has been to acquire a new land for the spider monkeys. This year, in collaboration with our partners Forsani, Fundación Cóndor Andino, and Wildland Zoo, we started the creation of a sanctuary for this species. Our new site has 80 acres of land with native forests where we have already built the first facility. Rehabilitation process for release into the wild are very complex. In order to provide the best rehabilitation for spider monkeys, our priority now is to build, with your support, naturalized enclosures that will be designed based on ecological, social, and behavioral needs of this species. These enclosures will have native tree species of their natural habitat, which will allow them to have greater opportunities to adapt to the wilds once they are released. With your support, this sanctuary, this dream, will allow us to give a second life chance to primates who are victims of the illegal trafficking.
Thank you, Natalia, for this hard work. We know that together we can change the life of these primates. Now, I want to share with you one of our biggest learnings through these years. With our work, we have been able to be more aware of the realities that local communities face in their everyday lives. Thanks to this, we know that socioeconomic situation is one of the main factors that influence decisions about the conservation of natural resources. Due to a large number of intermediaries within the market chains of agricultural products, in this case the Cacao Nacional Fino de Aroma, farmer families are the ones who unfairly receive less income for their production, despite they are the ones who do most of the groundwork. This situation consequently has an impact on the environment because the farmers, in order to increase their incomes, see that their only option is to cut down more forests and increase crop areas, which sadly does not improve their economic situation because their incomes still remains unfair and also does not allow them to improve their livelihoods. This is why, for us, biodiversity conservation has to be done with the active participation of local communities, because they are the ones who can gain the most from the protection of their forests. Now, I'm going to introduce Sofia Trujillo, who is the coordinator of the Community-Led Development Program. Hi, Sophie. Please tell us more about this program.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure for me to share with you the work we do together with farmers in the province of Esmeraldas since 2013. This program focuses on the implementation of a sustainable matrix model, which consists of the integration of agriculture, land for conservation of biodiversity, and sustainable development. Our work builds on the local and organizational capacities of these families in their main economic activities. Through participatory methodologies, we create and promote the associativity of farmers, and with them, we develop socio-environmental agreements that define commitments, responsibilities, and benefits for their association, making them our greatest allies for conservation. Thanks to the added value for the conservation of their forests and their dedication and effort to obtain a cacao product of excellent quality, we have managed to eliminate the chain of intermediaries, securing a minimum price of $4 per kilo, which compared to the international cacao price represents an increase of more than 100% incomes for the families. In summary, the impact of this program has been 2 farmers' associations were created and legalized, 17 families with sustainable land management, more than 900 acres of territory under the sustainable matrix model, 560 acres of forest protected and monitored with drones, buffer zone protection of public and private reserves. Furthermore, we combined this community work with a sustainability education program that contributes to the appropriation of new ideas and knowledge about the Ecuadorian Choco biodiversity. As part of the training workshops, the families have learned about the diversity of mammals, birds, amphibians, and reptiles. These trainings will also help them to acquire the skills to survive the fauna of their own forests themselves and know exactly what they are protecting. Thanks to your support, we will involve more families in this program and turn them into independent and empowered communities.
Thanks, Sophie. We are really happy for all of this. Now, we want to make a sweet invitation.
Did you know that you can eat chocolate and save the rainforest? As part of our self-management, we have created Washu Choco, which has the commitment to support our conservation activities by reinvesting a percentage of the incomes made from the sales of the chocolates.
During 10 years of work with a lot of commitment, Washu has changed the life of many people.
And now, thanks to this opportunity, we can imagine what together we can achieve for the spider monkeys and por la vida del Choco. From Ecuador, the middle of the world, a message for you.
Con tu apoyo ayudaremos a muchas más mujeres.
Con tu apoyo cumpliremos nuestros sueños.
Junto a ti protegeremos más bosques.
Con tu apoyo esperamos que más familias sean parte.
Junto a ti seremos más agricultores de la conservación.
Con tu apoyo voy a salvar los monos arañas.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Proyecto Washu, for an incredible presentation. We're now joined live by Felipe Alfonso Cortez and Natalia Fuentes, who are the co-founders and directors of Proyecto Washu, as well as Proyecto Washu's primatologist, Esteban Rivera. Thank you guys so much for joining us and for that incredible presentation.
Thanks, Tommy.
Thank you, Tommy.
Of course.
Hey, Tommy, and thank you.
So we're reaching the top of the hour, but we want to get in a few questions with you guys because the audience seem to be raving about this presentation and asking a lot because it's their first time learning about the brown-headed spider monkey. So I want to start a bit about the biology of the monkey and ask you, can you tell us what are some characteristics that distinguish the brown-headed spider monkey from other species of spider monkeys?
Okay, so thanks for the question. It's really nice to share this kind of information, and it mainly, the name says everything. So the differences between the spider monkey species is like the common names has it. So our flagship species is the brown-headed spider monkey. So we actually see in the field, when you saw the spider monkeys, you can see the brownish color on the top of their heads. And that is very different from the others because, for example, in Ecuador, we can find another spider monkey species, but in the Amazon region. And that spider monkey species, the common name is white-bellied spider monkey. So it's because he has a white color in their belly, and in the back is more black. And it's just the same with the other kind of spider monkey species. But also spider monkeys are really different from other monkeys because of their long arms and their long tails. And that's why also it's called a spider monkey, because the people, when they see it in the canopies, they say that it's like a spider moving across a spider web. So that's why.
Incredible. And are there specific characteristics that you think either have helped or maybe been very vulnerable for the spider monkeys to cope with deforestation and hunting for as long as they have?
Esteban?
Felipe, hello, Tommy. Thank you for the answer. I don't know. I think maybe the most important characteristic to distinguish this species is because this species have only 4 fingers, and this is the most important characteristic between the taxonomic groups. And I don't know, maybe the hunting, it's a really problem for this species, but I don't think the physiognomic characteristic permit the species to survive. Maybe, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the spider monkeys have a specific diet, and they need more fruits, and that is why they need a forest in the best conditions. And
yeah, and I love that you guys highlighted in the presentation that, of course, they need a lot of forest to survive and fruits, but they're also part of the process of reforesting as they spread fruits and eat some of the seeds and pass it on to regenerate further of the forest. So that's kind of hand-in-hand effort between your team and the spider monkeys, I think, to work on this reforestation effort. So it's cool to see they're on your team too. Can you tell us, we have a few questions also about what's driving the deforestation in the Ecuadorian Choco. Can you tell us, are there specific players or companies or industries that are driving most of the deforestation?
Yeah, well, the process of deforestation in this part of Ecuador is a historic process from several decades before. And it was mainly, of course, the advance of the agriculture frontier, but that is triggered because of the extractive companies that always are looking to extract, of course, more of the natural resources. So we have first, like the timber companies, the big timber companies that enter into these forested areas, open the roads, and of course after they take out the wood that they need, and they left. So, and then it became a process of deforestation from colonism, that people that are going into the forest also to open more land for agriculture. And recently, also the mining companies, it's also another threat and also another impact for the forest, because yeah, it's now more open, like the concessions for the mining sector, and that's one of the new threats for the spider monkeys and for the deforestation in this part of Ecuador.
Yeah, and luckily I had the pleasure of coming to visit you guys and your work in Ecuador this past February, and you showed me some of the fragmented populations of spider monkeys and their forest. So I had some questions in the group specifically about this fragmented population or fragmented forest and what Proyecto Washu could potentially do, or you're collaborating farmers and families to reconnect or create bridges for these fragmented populations. So could you share a bit about your efforts to create forest corridors and connect fragments, and what the supporters listening could do to support that effort as well?
Yeah, the fragmentation in the Choco forest is very intense. And for this reason, one of our goals to protect the wild population of the spider monkeys and the rest of the endangered primates of the Ecuadorian coast, it's the creation of biological corridors to connect populations and group. And with these actions, increase the genetic diversity of these species.
Incredible. And can you tell me, is there a specific piece of land or property that you guys are working on at the moment to try to purchase or protect to create these corridors?
Okay.
Good.
Yeah, so we currently we have the first purchase of land, so it was 200 hectares, and but yeah, we have different stages that we will want to achieve in the future. So one of the main goals now is to secure to buy a land that can connect to a bigger fragment near to us. That other fragment has 300 hectares of forest, but in between there is another plot of land that is mostly pasture land. But that is one of our our main goals now is to buy that land of pasture lands to secure the connection to the other forest fragment. But yeah, there is a lot of things to do over there in Manabi because we have found a lot of different kind of fragments with the spider monkeys and with the other primates that it really needs to get done something to protect them and to connect, of course, all these fragments.
Incredible. And so I think to close us off on hopefully a hopeful opportunity, can you share a little bit about how quickly you think the spider monkeys can increase their numbers once you've created these corridors for them? Can you tell us a bit about the reproduction rate of these species and what gives you guys hope to keep on working on this effort?
Yeah. The first thing we want to share with you is the reason that the spider monkeys is threatened or endangered too is because the spider monkeys have a slow reproduction. The females enter in their reproduction age at 5 or 6 age, and that is for the threats affected really hard spider monkeys.
Yeah, so in the future it will be a slow process. So if we think that it will be recovering very fast, it's not going to happen. We have to do, and part of our objective is to continue measuring the population trends. So we already have like these surveys of the monkeys in several of the fragments, and we have an estimation of around 300, but we have to continue doing this monitoring and these surveys to see what is going to happen. But as Natalia said, it's very low, the reproduction of the spider monkey. So it will take a little bit of time to see a major change in the population.
Yeah. And for this reason, it's uncertain how many individuals of the brown-headed monkeys are in Ecuador. But it's difficult to know how many spider monkeys are. However, the loss of habitat is very intense. The 80% of the habitat of Choco has disappeared. And for these reasons, we think that the spider monkeys populations are decreasing.
Wow. Well, yeah, I think that just encourages even more to support organizations like you guys at Project Washu to protect this habitat and create more corridors for them to grow their population. And I think hopefully by 2030, we'll be looking at a different situation for the spider monkeys. And so unfortunately, we're running out of time for today, but I just want to say thank you so much to Felipe and Natalia and Esteban for taking the time to join us from Ecuador and for all of the efforts that you guys do at Project Washu. And I hope that we'll be hearing more stories of hope from you guys in the coming years of this decade on ecosystem restoration. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Tommy.
Thank you, Tommy.
And if you guys want, please go visit Project Washu's website and purchase some Washu chocolate, support their organization as well. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Tommy. Thank you, all the people. Bye.
All right, so unfortunately that does bring us to the end of today's virtual expo session on the main stage. I hope you enjoyed this 3 presentations about ecosystem restoration and reestablishing wild places around the world and growing opportunities for wildlife to improve. So we invite you actually right now, if you'd like, to hop into some of the virtual booths on Hopin, where you can ask more follow-up questions to the conservationists that you heard from today, or you can come back again tomorrow for the last day of WCN's Virtual Expo at 5 p.m. Pacific time, which will focus on aquatic life in the oceans and rivers. So please join us tomorrow. But for now, I just want to say thank you to all our presenters and to the audience for tuning in. Hope you all have a great day.